Greetings, BlazeLeeDragon here, and this is a video response to a video response to Jerkwitha3. Jerkwitha3 made a video response titled Subjective Magic, Static Reality. These are both questions. The video response was in response to my video, Magic. Is it all in your head? What do you need? Okay. I actually probably should go back and watch my own video just to see what I said. I usually just speak from the heart and just kind of say what's on my mind. So I don't remember everything that I had said in that video. He did request some specific questions, and if I remember and recall all the questions that he asks here, I will try to address them the best I can. So one of the first questions that he talks and asks about is the withdrawal of my comment. Well, actually, he kind of asked it, do I believe there's a second type of magic, that I would withdraw my comment for that type of magic, saying that I would not necessarily have ritual tools as being optional. You know, as he's talking about certain procedures to summon certain entities and beings and working with them, if it's, you know, wouldn't you still need these exact tools and items? So let me make a comparison to kind of give you what I mean by saying that ritual tools, items, etc. are optional. You don't need them. Okay. The best way to equate it is similar to music. Okay. And the reason that music really coincides with what magic's like is it's because magic is sending out these vibrational energies. Okay. Everything's moving. Everything. The computer screen, the desk, the chair you're sitting on. Everything has these little molecules and atoms. Okay, if you look at science, we're talking protons, neutrons, electrons. We're talking constant vibration and humming. Nothing is actually solid. Solid is just a perception, which I'll get into because that's one of their questions later. With everything constantly moving and constantly creating energy, and there's an interaction between everything, even the air feels like there's nothing there, but it is filled with molecules, you know, hydrogen, oxygen, all sorts of air molecules that are in the air, you know, pollens, etc., things that we don't see, but we can pass through those, okay? All of this will interact with each other. When you have a thought, you know, like you can pick up brain waves, these emit, and these go out into the universe, and they cause alterations. If you consider things like the butterfly effect, basically the idea of the butterfly effect is that a butterfly can flap its wings and cause hurricanes miles away, because it sends out like ripples in a pond. So the reason I'm comparing that to music is because you are creating vibrational sound with music, similar to how you're creating mystical vibrations when you do magic. Okay? So what is music? You have many different types of forms and techniques. Okay? An individual person can play an instrument, or they can sing by themselves. An individual person can beat on something to create sound and music, or they can do it with a group of people, a band, an orchestra. The idea that I'm trying to get to is there are different things that you can do with objects, you know, items, ritual tools that can potentially enhance the effect you're going for. Also, depending on the type of tradition you're using, absolutely. You can't really play classical music without violins or cellos or whatever the case may be. You have instruments in classical music. It's not just singing. However, you can still produce music with just singing. Similarly, in magic, all you need is to focus with your mind. And there's a lot more that goes to it. You know, there's breathing techniques, there's focusing techniques, visualization techniques. There's ways of taking care of your body, preparing your energies, getting all of your energies to focus on one thing, allowing it to flow through you, getting familiar with directing that, feeling that, interacting with those subtle energies. However, when you have stuff, I probably need to do a video eventually on ritual tools. What are they, how they're used, why we use them, why we don't need to use them in some cases. When you look at something like a crystal or a stone, that individual item has particular vibrations and qualities. We can try to mirror and mimic them, but we're not going to do it the same as having that. So, if you're talking about a prescribed ritual, summoning, something very specific, sure, you might need the stones to do it that way. I still think we can do a reflection of that without the item, however. And the same thing goes for basic magic. The average person out there, maybe even some of you watching this, only knows basic principles. And I don't mean this as an insult in any way, shape, or form, but you can probably produce the exact same effects without the items. The individuals that go a little bit beyond that, and they learn the actual property of the stones and how they vibrate, the intensity energies that they're adding, can enhance their effects by using the correct items. Such as, you don't just bang on an instrument, you learn to play that instrument. Same thing happens with stones, herbs, candles, elements, different tools. They have purpose behind them. They can be used for certain effects, but the general use of magic, it's not needed. So I guess it depends on what you're doing, if that makes sense. When you talk about stuff like an athame, those not familiar with an athame, this is a ritual dagger. It's not usually used for cutting or drawing blood or anything like that. It's used for directing and focusing your energy, usually towards the fire element. The athame is a phallus type of item. Phallus being like penis, basically. It's a male item. It's masculine. With that, it's used to help to direct your energies in that fashion that are related to that. However, your two fingers work just as well. You can, I can get into more detail about this later, but there's actually an association with each of your fingers and the elements. And two of those associations is fire with your index finger and akasha or spirit with your middle finger. And by placing the two together, it can substitute for not only, your athame, but some people can also, for your wand as well. You don't necessarily need the wand or the athame. Now, if you make it out of the right material, if you use the right metal or steel, if you forge it in a specific way and take care of it and treat it and energize it and enhance it and enchant it in a specific method, it can help, but it's not a requirement. So, I guess it all depends on what you're trying to do, So, hopefully that kind of answers what I was saying and kind of clarifies. So, to a degree, Jerkwitha3, yeah, you could need it for certain specifics. However, the average individual does not know these specifics to summon, communicate, or draw. So I always recommend to people who I teach, find what works for you. Don't just use something because it says it in a book. Books are crap. Don't care who writes it. I could write a book. It's crap. Books are crap. What's the only truth that you need, in my opinion, and I don't mean to belittle or cut anyone down. I'm very big on believe what you want, follow your heart. That's all you need to listen to. Listen to inside. You want connection with the deities, the divine, God, goddess, spirit? Look inside. Don't find your answers elsewhere. If you're going to use something, use it because it feels right, because it vibrates right. Study. Learn the qualities of that item, and then use it for that purpose. Now, if you do end up having to have one of these, ancient tomes or whatever the case may be, and you translate it from an ancient language, and, there's a specific reason why you have to have this in this exact method, by all means. That's probably the way that's needed to be. However, most people don't need to access that particular spell or ritual. So, for the average, everyday person, like I've said 3-4 times now, you don't need ritual tools. They're not required to do magic. So, yeah, if you have a specific written out spell, it's like a recipe to a cookbook or sheet music to a song. There are specific things to play that with. And you can even alter it. Actually, sheet music's a great example. You can still play the same notes on different instruments. Yeah, it might have been prescribed to be played on a piano, but you can probably still play it with a violin or guitar. You could probably even sing it. Okay? So, customize it, make it your own. That's the first main thing. Now, the other thing Jerkwitha3 mentions, he wants to know a little bit about my beliefs as far as reality and static reality, as well as the statement that I had said about how everything is real, but everything is not real. It's all based upon perception. And I believe that's how he quoted me. I don't remember my exact quote. The basic idea is nothing is real. Everything's a lie. and everything is also real at the same time with what you put your perception into. Now, he was asking me, what are my beliefs with it? Do I believe in a static reality, one reality that's true regardless to our individual perceptions? I don't talk about my beliefs a lot at all. I usually don't. And I don't do this for a few reasons. A, they're my personal beliefs. And B, I don't want you as a viewer, Jerkwitha3 or any of my viewers, if you're watching this, I don't want you to think that what I'm saying is the only way that's right. I want to inspire you. I want you to find some help and guidance. Hey, these are roadmaps. Now walk whatever path you want through the woods. Don't necessarily walk in my footsteps. Find what works for you. I'm actually the same way when I teach martial arts. I'm not going to teach someone to fight like me. You don't have my build or my body. You have your build and your body. You have to find what works for you. That's why, some people have actually helped them find Catholicism. I'm not a Catholic. I don't have anything wrong with Catholicism. It's just not for me. However, for some people, that's right. That's what they need to follow. That's what they need to find. Some Shinto, others Buddhist, Taoist, Hindu, Druid, Protestant, Jehovah's Witness, whatever the case may be. Each person needs to find what's right for them. So with reality and the way that I view it, do I believe personally, and these are my personal thoughts, so don't hold these to stone, this is what I feel and think. You're allowed to think differently. That does not make you wrong and me right, or me wrong and you right. It's our own perception. To me, no, there is no such thing as a static reality. Reality itself is beyond comprehension. Our attempt to comprehend it is what makes our reality. Let me give you some examples. The classic glass is half empty, glass is half full. It's how you perceive the world around you that is going to define it. Words, languages, emotions, feelings, these are interpretations that you get from your own personal input. You experience the world. You interpret the world. That is your reality. Reality is a word. It is a meaning. And its meaning is based upon what you choose to understand it as. And it can change and shift at the blink of an eye. A single word, a single statement can completely blow you away. A simple image, however beautiful or grotesque that image might be, can completely shatter your perception of reality. Reality is a mental thing. Do you think that there's a reality for a stump or piece of wood or an animal? No, they exist, they are. In Taoism, we call this Pu. It is, and I know it sounds funny, but it's Pu, it's pronounced Pu. It is the natural state of naturalness. It is just being. The Chan Buddhist would actually sit, just to sit, not to attain enlightenment, but to just be. This, I think, is the essence of what reality is. It is just being. So when we try to interpret and comprehend, put words, emotions, and things, this is our personal reality, our personal perception of it. Otherwise, it's beyond comprehension. There is no comprehension, it just is. That's what I mean by everything is a lie. Everything that you are taught, everything that you learn, everything that you develop and make up, these are all nicknames and words that you are trying to put to define something that is undefinable. This is my view. This is my personal beliefs. I believe you had requested something else, Jerkwitha3, and I don't remember what it was. So I'll waste a little bit of video trying to remember if I can think of what it was. And I'm probably going to call it a close here. So hopefully this answers your question. Hopefully those that are watching this, once again, take this with a grain of salt. Oh, you asked me about the Quabala. Remembered. No, I'm not a follower of the Quabala. I've skimmed through it before. Sure. A lot of the beliefs that I will talk about and opinions that I have are very universal. I don't follow one specific path. I mix and mesh among many, many paths to what works for me. I don't think that any of them are right, and I don't think any of them are wrong. So what I'm trying to do is find my right, my wrong, my truth. And I do that by taking a little bit of this, taking a little bit of that. One day you might hear me say, biblical quotes, from Catholicism, such as, you can teach a man to fish. You can fish for a man and feed him for a day, or teach him to fish and feed him for a lifetime. Or I'll go with the Taoist saying, you know, fire cools and water seeks its own level. In time, all things heal. There's a Confucius saying that says that a teacher opens the door, but you must choose to walk through. There's tons of great lore and information from all faiths and perceptions and realities. So I take what I can and find myself somewhere in the middle. So I guess that kind of covers everything. So if you have more questions, feel free to ask. Video response, or you know, send me a PM message below. As always, donation link below. I never turn down donations, so not required, but always appreciated. Have a nice day.